pillow. Hey guys, late as always. That's how we roll. At least when Kendall's around, that's how we roll. Sorry. It's the truth.
You know,
she's with flow. She's all about flow.
It is a proven factor that it's proven that people who are the most happy in life are also consistently late.
Yeah.
At least I saw that on a meme on Facebook, so it must be true.
It must be true. If it's on Facebook, it's true. No.
We're on Facebook.
We are on Facebook. Oh, and I need to be doing something right now. I'm supposed to be. Robin is not doing her job.
Where is the music?
Huh? No, don't do that. That's awful music. Awful.
Hey, I grew up with Jeopardy.
I know. I did too. And I hated the music. Okay, moving on, away from the music, because that's awful.
I should be playing like some elevator music for you.
Please don't.
That's what we need.
I'm just sharing this stuff all over so that we make sure that we get everybody on here who needs to hear this message today, because we have a pretty awesome message today. I'm pretty stoked about it.
I'm just going to keep it simple.
Yes, we're going to keep it simple. So today we're doing the spiritual growth kits. Talk all about
deep, passionate, fully complex, like a really good glass of red wine. Like a nice,
I'm a little lost. I'm listening because I'm confused at what you're about to say.
I'm talking about the spiritual growth kiss and how complex and deep and passionate and earthy and just like grow, and it's got all these different facets to it and all this stuff.
Yeah. And you have to work really hard at it.
Yes,
it takes years of
really
study.
Just
years
it out and struggle.
You have to pound it out. Okay. And yeah, it takes years of
anything different.
And no. And it takes years of practice and study and like really
that's the only way that you can get enlightened. And then you are all of a sudden, like the day before you die,
you're awakened.
You are awakened. And you are at this high vibration, and you're all glittery and glowy the way we are with this cool little
see why you don't like this
thing.
Couch.
And
sorry, I just like my couch. No, I'm sinking. I'm short.
We could go to the other couch and we would really sink, because that thing just sucks you in.
That
kind of like spiritual growth just sucks you in. Yep, it just sucks you in. It just takes over, and it just makes you just
all like, glittery and glowy.
Yes, and the day before you die, when you are fully awakened and you are enlightened, and happy and joyous and blessed, and you are peaceful and wise and all this.
As you get hit by the bus.
You step off the curb and it is just boom, and you turn into a fish, because that's the next enlightened. The most enlightened people reincarnate as fish, because then they are a full service, and fish have the least amount of feeling.
I don't want to be a fish. I don't like fish.
Well, then don't become enlightened.
I'm allergic to fish.
Don't become enlightened. Instead, stay like a small child, innocent, pure, playful, joyous, with all the enlightenment. Because that's what small children are, right? Actually, small children are the most enlightened.
Yeah, they really are. They really are.
All truth. I'm just messing with
we're just messing around. But really what we're talking about today, oh, by the way, I'm Addison Bell, and this is my crazy co-host, Kendall Williams.
Oh, I was going to come up with a new name.
Okay, you can be whoever you want to be.
Yeah, no, I can't say what I'm saying.
You're going to be Goddess Athena.
Athena?
The wise.
Yes. I have a bird named Athena.
I have a cat named Athena. But anyway.
Actually, Athena died. My bird, Athena, passed. She died. She didn't get watered properly. She did poor little thing. She came into full enlightenment, and then she just dropped one day. found it on the bottom of the bird cage. And I was like,
that was a hard day for your children.
Percy's still here. See?
Okay.
Yeah.
But what we really are talking about today is keeping it simple in our spiritual growth. So I've been doing a ton of work on myself, lots of my own spiritual
time.
Because I haven't been doing my work the last.
I'm gonna get hit.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
I won't do it on Freezer Ray Talks, but you will be at peace.
Later tomorrow when I'm doing my conscious coffee and I'm all bruised on this side, everybody will know why.
Because I'm so violent. But I've been doing a bunch of spiritual growth the last week or so, and I've noticed that as I touch into different spiritual practices and actually am at times just like remembering certain spiritual practices and diving back into them again. I'm a little because I have been doing so, warning people. But as I'm diving back into them, I'm noticing that some of the people I talk to, not necessarily the spiritual practice itself, but the people I'm talking to want to make these practices, these ideas, these concepts incredibly difficult to understand. Like, oh, I'm so wise that you can't understand this, or like really try to like put all this extra stuff that I personally don't see as important. I see it as taking away from the growth, the expansion, it's actually the ego really trying to separate other people from getting these ideas, these concepts. And it actually has really been bothering me because I'm like, why are you making that concept so incredibly complex? It's not that complex.
Because we want complexity. We believe that complexity is a sign of goodness, of growth, of expansion, of intelligence, of all this different stuff. That something that is simple cannot be as worthy or as valuable as something that is complex. So it's just like, that's the reason why. Yet what we really crave is ease. We want it to be easy, we want it to be simple, but we want it to be complex. I believe that you can have both.
Yes.
That the simplest of things can be deeply complex, but that means that it has different layers to it. Yes. Not necessarily that it is difficult to achieve. That form of complexity goes against, in my opinion, probably the majority of the laws of the universe. Because it does not... the grass does not struggle necessarily to grow. There is a struggle where it has to break out of the seed. It has to come up through the earth, but it does it in ease. It does it with direction, with certainty. It just, that little sprout just kind of just goes. Yeah. Like I have a lotus flower, and you have a lotus flower on your tattoo as well. I have a lotus flower right here. And when I got this tattoo years ago, it was a symbol to me of my life journey of transformation, of my spiritual growth process. And I've studied a lot of different things with like Egyptian beliefs and Mayan, and going way back in time and everything. So really predating even Christ and stuff. Like we're talking about 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 years ago. So really looking at all those old texts. And one of the old beliefs in Egypt was that the lotus flower was the place of all of existence to be born from, to keep it as simple as possible. And the beautiful story of the lotus flower is that the lotus flower, if you're not familiar, it's on top of some of the muckiest, nastiest, dingiest, ugliest, filthiest water that you can find.
And nothing should be
able to grow in this. And here this beautiful flower just rests on the water, and and it just basks in the sunlight and everything. And it's really, really pretty, and it has just a little bit of like leaf and everything. Well, underneath is its vine, and when it first is born, basically, it comes up from the bottom of that cesspool of muck, and it has to struggle And I do it like this because this is like, it doesn't struggle. It actually moves with the water. It just flows as it's going up toward the light. So its path is just to travel up towards the light, but it has to travel through, you know, like all of the little, like the slime and the dead plants and any twigs and just the heavier water. There is a pushing to it, but it is also being carried upward towards the light with the water and everything. And its natural process is to go upward towards the light. So as it travels, it kind of moves with flow like this until finally it is on top of the water, where it opens its petals, and there it is seen by the light. And to me, the reason why I got that tattoo was because it is a beautiful representation of our life path and the things that we kind of go through. Like, we can look at it as though we're traveling through all this complex muck and struggle, you could say, although struggle is a choice. Or you can just look at it as though, like, you're just learning from it, you're adapting, you're growing, you're traveling forward, always that forward movement up, and
you're experiencing the contrast, is like Abraham Hicks would kind
you're
of
experiencing that, but where is always that forward movement that you have going on. So as long as you're always stepping forward, then you can travel in ease. You can. There's just that complexity there because you have the different, you know, what we perceive as good or bad happening consistently. This is really like, you've got more of the screen than I do. I'm jealous.
Well, move. You put the camera there.
There we go. I'm more.
Yeah, we think we have to struggle, and we think we have to put, I think, all of this stuff on top of our own spiritual growth. Like, oh, well, I don't understand, like, these concepts, and so I can't fully, you know.
So it's kind of like you're trying to build, you put a building on top of your pond of water that your lotus flower is trying to grow.
Yes.
And then you're like, grow lotus flower.
Grow!
But now it can't see the light for the building that you planted.
And we put and we put these excuses of like, well, I can't step into that because I don't fully understand all these texts, and I don't understand those words you're using, which I think, and I'm going to hit on the spiritual community here, like really hard, actually, like whack. I think there are a lot of spiritual teachers that purposely try to make things not understandable, and they don't do it with a conscious, like, oh, I'm going to make this so hard that the average person can't understand. But I do think there is like an ego of like, I'm going to make this so difficult to understand, I'm going to make this so complex and so like it's out here in order unattainable, thank you, very unattainable, kind of to keep themselves in like this ego space where, and I think we can all kind of fall into that, especially if we're like spiritual teachers, like, oh, it's so like, but really, if we want to grow and we want to have these spiritual connections, whatever that is, whatever way we're wanting to grow, like, you don't have to understand it all. And it is that little growth process, that going with the flow. And it doesn't necessarily have to be so freaking difficult.
No, which is where our whole title comes in, you know, spiritual growth, KISS. KISS meaning keep it simple, stupid. And that whole KISS factor, I mean, anybody who's been in sales or done any kind of self-growth stuff, it should be familiar with the KISS factor. And that is, I mean, like what Addison and I are talking about, it really is like I 100% agree with you, which is why we're doing this topic, because we both agree on this, although we should do something that we debate on. That would be an interesting, like we should have
something we totally disagree with.
Completely on opposite sides.
Yeah, because we do have a couple things that we're like, I disagree with that. Well, we can respect it. No.
Yeah, we need to, boxing gloves.
Because there are a couple things we do disagree on. We are very aligned in a lot of things, but there are some things that we do very much disagree on.
But the simplicity factor is that, you know, and I'm going to take energy work as something, because that's something that I have grown up with. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to just say that I've grown up. Now, my parents were not spiritual people in that essence at all. I grew up pretty much just el natural, very, very, very natural, very earthy, very...
You did not have a normal...
I did not have a normal childhood, but that's a different topic.
But they are more earthy.
Very earthy would be the word for them. Crunchy.
Crunchy. Crunchy would be a good word,
Crunchy.
yes.
Like Seattle crunchy on steroids. Because there was no city. It was actually camping crunchy. Yeah. Anyways, very, very earthy. But that left for a lot of creativity and awareness and tapping into nature. I also grew up as an only child. I grew up out in the middle of the country with hardly anybody around me except for animals and earth. So I grew up playing with snakes and playing with bugs and very, very comfortable around wild animals and have had lots of energetic connections with nature in a very primal way. So growing up like that, I just,
We'll be back.
there we go.
There we go.
I went away for a second. I just accepted that there was this energy between all. I also had this imaginary friend who I referred to as Seth. At least he introduced himself as Seth to me.
Imaginary friend. Okay.
That's
what you thought of it as a
That's
child.
what my
yes.
mom told me, that Seth was she always said, you're very creative and your imaginary friend. Because I would be in the bathroom, I would be in my bedroom, I'd be outside in my little fort that I made, playing with my snakes and stuff, real snakes, and talking to Seth. And I was always in conversation with Seth. So it was just like, well, fast forward everything that Seth told me when I was 3, 4, 5 years old, and when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, I started being able to apply these very complex terms and understandings to these very simple concepts and things that I just grew up experiencing, learning, and truly building the skill set on as a small child, because I was told this by my imaginary buddy how to do it, and it just kind of happened. So then when I hit my teen years, and my high school boyfriend brought me all of these texts, Tantra texts, Kabbalah texts, ancient Egyptian texts, all this different stuff. And then he grew up with a very strong religious background. So then he brought in also the Christian background, the biblical stuff. And I started instantly, I saw how everything kind of went together. But he would be telling me something, I'd say, oh, that's like blah, 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 blah. And I would describe it in these like simple terms. And you're like, how do you know that? Like, what is that? What is that? How do you, and I would just describe to him like what I felt or what was going on or how this happened. And I would just like, it's just like this. It's just like that. It's so simple. And you go, no,
it's not simple.
You have to like get into meditation and you have to levitate 15 inches off the ground, and then your chakras
aligned in just
your
the right.
chakras have to be aligned, and nothing can be spinning out of the different directions, and everything has to be expanded at the exact same diameter, and you need to breathe in at this interval
and use this mantra.
Exactly. And then you need to then you need to and then you have to say this at this precise moment when the gong dings and lightning strikes and a bird flies by, and now
and things fly out your butt.
And now you will be able to see a ley line. All right, so not quite that, but you get the extreme level. I mean, I'm trying to exaggerate it because it is really, truly bogus that you have to. I was trying to use the word there. I just pulled back 1980, 1990 something there. Okay.
I like bogus.
Whatever. Yeah, but it does not have to be that complex. I mean, I really, truly, even in different practices, holistic practices that I've done through my coaching career, I describe it as Reiki, right? Yes, I hold a Reiki mastership. I've been through that. I hold quantum touch. I have all of that stuff. And I can understand and I can do everything by the book if it was required.
If you followed the rules.
If somebody was testing me on it, although I would probably just be like, whatever, I don't have to do that. You don't rule me. Whole thing. But the truth of the matter is that something as simple as energy work is just to get in tune with your body, to completely embody yourself, to, yes, bring your breathing down, become very present in self and with the moment and with whomever or whatever you are practicing your energy work on.
And then
and just tune in, and that is more about what you are feeling, and then leaning into that without question, and just letting it come to you, being the channel that you really are. And that's really all we are, is we're just a vessel for energy to flow through. That energy can be healing energy of laying on hands. That can be money flowing through us, because money's just flowing through us and it's going here and it's going there.
It can be negativity.
It can be negativity. It can be love. It can be, just messages. We can be a medium. We can be all these different things. And it is nothing more than just opening up and being that channel. And I think that all spirituality practices and just our spiritual growth in itself is nothing more than that. It's just, the stuff that I learned when I was 3, 4, 5 years old, talking to my imaginary bud, who was really freaking cool. He is a cool dude. And that whole lesson there was that everything was extremely simple. It was very, very simple.
Yeah. And I think we forget those lessons, those simple lessons we learn as children, because you started actually this off by saying, like, oh yeah, like a little kid. Well, kids really are, we're serious when we say kids really are the most enlightened little beings.
And go back to
they know
Jesus' teaching as well.
Yes, they know.
Let's go back to what Jesus said.
I actually went on
like little children.
Yeah.
That's like the souls that basically will get it are the ones that can come back to that childlike state of not questioning, of play, of adventure, of just being able
curiosity.
To get and it's like that state right there. When we get into that, as though like a child on Christmas morning is what I always refer to it as. Just that excitement, like
yes. I'm learning this. I'm gonna expand. Yeah. I'm gonna try this out. If it works, it doesn't. If it does, great. There's so much fun.
There's an expectation without attachment, and that is a magical ground. And that's just
yeah. But I think as we get older, we like to put all these labels on it. And yes, so I do think there are putting labels on some of our spiritual practices and finding some of the little intricacies of complexity, because the truth is there is complexity, like you stated, I believe all spiritual practice comes back to love. That is my message. That is the message I share each and every day in my personal coaching. I try bi-monthly, we try to share that on here, the message of love and love of God, your spiritual practice, ourselves, others, your life, whatever that might be. But if you even look at love, love is an easy concept. That's something we just have to tune into. However, being human, there is complexity to it, because there are so many different facets we run into when we deal with our egos, and we deal with,
and the gist of it is that we want to control it.
Yes, we want to control it. And so we create more complexity in it. But then yes, there are these layers, but we, instead of looking at the complexity, and I don't know,
we miss the subtle.
I'm not even sure I like the word complexity, but the layers, instead of looking at the layers of it and going this is fun and juicy, we go oh, this is a struggle. These layers have to be a struggle, instead of this is a fun and juicy piece of this.
Yeah. What are we getting out of it? What are we learning? What are we expanding into? What are we experiencing? What are the choices that are presenting themselves to us? The options that we have. It's anytime we get into that alignment, we are looking at the complexity of that moment as to what's going on. But what is our soul really doing? Our soul is so far past all of that crap.
It's laughing at us.
It's going, could you please just put your shoes on and come on.
It's doing the face palm,
just come on, let's go. I already got that one covered. Let's go.
Just trust. Have faith.
Just take the step. But I need to build the step. No, you don't.
The step's already there.
It's already there. Just walk. But we want to make it difficult. We want to try to build the path instead of trusting the path.
Yes. And we want to. I think you're right. We need to just have faith and trust and know that actually all of these learnings, all these teachings, all this it's already inside of us because, like you just said, like our spirit knows. And so, yes, it is amazing to grow spiritually and expand and like do all these learnings and actually more re-rememberings. Like it's like we already know it is, but more like re-rememberings of soul and spirit. It is amazing to do that work. Like I love to do my personal growth work. It is fun for me. Doesn't always come across that way, but like I enjoy it. That's why I keep stepping into it. But at the same time, I totally forgot what I was. I'm gonna be honest. I had a really good thought, and my brain isn't functioning well today. I did too much clearing.
And you drink Red Bull. Now you have wings.
No, that would not clear. That would not clear. I do kind of have feel like I do have a little pixie energy. I have that really.
Well, I'm very rooted and grounded.
Good for you.
Very, very
we are balanced
solid and stable. But don't tell her.
It was a good thought too. Oh well, I was on a roll and I lost my roll. Oh well, that's what it was meant to be.
You're supposed to slow your roll, just like the Kid Rock song. I love that song. I'll play it for you after this.
Lovely. Yeah, but kind of on the re-remembering. I think it's a re-remembering of self and knowing that it's already within you. It's already there. And so you really are just re-remembering all of these things, but to not, I get clients all the time that'll be like, well, like, I don't, but like, what's the name and how exactly do you do it? And I'm like, you just do it. You just do it. Or you mentioned like energy work, and I hear when I go to like networking stuff or like out to like spiritual community events, I hear like I do energy work, and like there's almost an ego to it. And it's like, yeah, we all can do energy work. We all can do it. Like every single human can do that.
Yep.
Like
for energy.
Like you're not special. Energy. Like I love you, but you're not special.
We transfer energy every single time we get close to another living entity, object. It's a transference of energy. No matter what, we are consistently transferring energy. We are consciously doing it. Then we could say that we are conscious energy workers. But we are all energy workers. And I don't even like the word worker on that because that means that like you're working at it. You have to, hey, I'm supposed to be off doing other things. Look at that. I'll do it later. Do it later. But it's more, I think some of the best energy work is when you can get into play and when you can just play with the energy. I remember years ago, I had a neighbor over and she did not believe in energy work, and she had carpal tunnel really, really bad. Mm-hmm. She was supposed to go, I think I've told you this story, but I haven't told them this story. So I just think that this is powerful because it shows the playfulness of it. It also shows just that you don't necessarily have to believe something to have results from something. And a lot of the times I will hear different people say, oh, well, it didn't work because so-and-so didn't believe. I'm like, actually, it probably didn't work because you were trying to control it and you don't really believe. Like, if you don't believe, if you're the one who is consciously channeling and directing or over-directing something, it will force the energy to actually block up and not go there. I mean, there will be resistance. It's not that it's not going to go there because energy is always moving, but there's going to be more resistance to it. And you also activate resistance in the other thing, other person, typically.
Other thing, dream, goal.
Right. Whatever. So whatever, there's like, because you basically cause a different vibration to happen when you have that resistance there. But with this particular friend, I had her over, so I gave her a martini to loosen her up. I mean, that's what you do, right?
Sure, you're gonna work some energy, and here, let me get you drunk. Oh yeah, that's great.
And just so that everybody goes, oh, well, you're not supposed to drink alcohol when doing spiritual work, right? Well, actually, alcohol is
it actually
called
does
spirits.
raise you up.
It's spirits because it is to pull spirits out and to increase the spiritual vibration. Anybody who has ever studied Kabbalah would be very familiar with Purim, and that is all about drinking spirits and pushing yourself into the land of ego so that you can see the other side, experience that vibration, so that you can fully tap into your light. The more light, it can be revealed that way. So I have used different spirits, such as a martini, to help people drop their guard a little bit, relax. It is. I mean, it's like you're dating for energy work. Okay, so it's like, just like, let me buy you a drink. Okay, yeah, let me lay my hands on you. No. All right, not happening, not like that. But, so I gave her a martini.
Creepy vibes, creepy vibes.
Oh, come on, it'll be good for you. You'll like it, trust me. It won't take long. All right, yeah, these aren't.
That's not sounds point either.
Okay. All right, back to energy work. All of that's
just
accurate.
a little bit.
All of that's accurate. All right, just yeah. So no, so I gave her a martini, and so she had really bad carpal tunnel, and she was actually fixing to go in for surgery in a couple weeks because she was going to have to quit her job because she couldn't even type anymore. And I said, just let me try something. Just go with me on this. Like, just be playful. Here's martini. Sit down. We're chit-chatting, and she's drinking her martini. And I just took my hands and put them on her wrist. Somebody's going to walk in the door. Boop. We're on the live. So I put my hands on her wrist, and I started just playing ping pong, or tennis, actually. I played tennis with light going back and forth through her wrist. So I just saw light coming from one hand and bouncing through her wrist to the other hand, and then I bounced it back, and like it was a tennis match. Boing, 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 boing. I just sat there, and I just did this. I did not tell her what I was doing. I just sat there, and that's all what I was doing. I was just bouncing this light back and forth. And anywhere that I felt resistance in her arm, in her wrist there, or saw like a grayness that appearing in my mind, because I just kept my eyes closed, and anywhere that I saw a grayness in her, I went ahead and just like really bounced that light hardcore on that. So as I was doing that, she looks at me, she says, this is really weird. It feels like there's like a little ball bouncing around in my arm. It's so weird. It's just like, I feel this boing, boing, boing. And she described exactly what I was doing, and I started laughing. I was like, well, I guess it works. I guess it works. Well, long story short, after 2 of those clearings on energy and everything, and 2 martinis later, she never had to have surgery. So yeah, it was, I mean, it is powerful, but here's the thing. She had 0 belief around it, and I had 100% belief in that particular, in number 1, my level of understanding and ability to do it. And does that sound hard? I mean, like, anybody can just walk up to somebody and put their hands on them and bounce light back and forth. You know, like I have this other one that I pretend that I'm Supergirl, and like all these intimacies I'm carrying today. It's intimacy day. And I'll be flying. I picture myself like flying in like that, and I have laser vision, and I can just blow the bad stuff up.
She made me want to throw up once with her.
Like fly through, and I see this like laser, and it's like I'm blowing the stuff up with my laser vision, and it's just.
I remember I poured ice on you once, and you were cold for it.
Oh my god, that was miserable.
That was bad.
That was not fun. I was cold forever.
I know.
I think I'm still cold from it. All right, no, it wore out. That was months ago.
But yeah, I think the point is really that it's not.
Axel this.
Okay, go.
There was this one time I went to
One time at band camp.
There was this one time in band camp. There was this one time at this energy thing that I went to years ago. I don't remember even where the heck I was at. But I can't remember what the name of the energy stuff. Oh, it's oh my goodness, I can't think of it.
Snap him, but we're not talking.
I don't know. See ditziness here. But no, I went to this one energy, whatever the heck it is, and raw food thing, and it was awesome. And we all ended up sitting in a circle laughing our butts off because the hostess had applied suction dolphins to the bottom of different people's feet. These suction dolphins, they were not physically there, but she envisioned these dolphins and like a suction cup, and they were doing energy work and all this different stuff. And yeah, and then she put these suction dolphins, and it made it impossible to stand. And nobody knew what she was doing until after the fact, but a lot of people were having issues standing and everything. And she was just rolling on the ground. At the end of it, she's just rolling on the ground, laughing her butt off, which was hilarious because she was having so much fun with this. And it was about the learning process of the energy is playful. And yes. This playful is not. Playful can be complex. But playful is simple. It's simple. Playful. It's easy. It's in flow. It's joyous. It's just juicy and good.
And really that is when we are at that vibration, that playfulness, that just flow, that is actually when we are open to doing the work. When it's hard, when it's a struggle, when it's so complex, really, that is when we really aren't being playful. We aren't in flow. We aren't just allowing. So when it's like, I can't do this because I don't have these pieces. That's
if you're working at it, if you're really truly working at it, then you're probably doing it wrong. Yes. I mean, I know that I'm probably gonna get like some emails or messages from this. We're both. I guess it's gonna that's what somebody's gonna probably message. Bring it. But it really is. I mean, my true core belief on that is that if you are working really hardcore on doing your work, your inner work, then you have lost the whole point of spiritual growth. You have lost the path itself, and you just gotta just loosen up and enjoy and just
stop taking it so seriously.
It's like you take it serious, but not to the point that it's serious. This is such a...
And it's obtainable for everybody.
Yeah.
It's obtainable for everybody, and...
who wants enlightenment if you're like, I gotta do this again. It's like, let me drag all this crap with me. Let me go digging over here. Let me do this. Let me re-anchor that right there. That's a really good thing to re-anchor because it was miserable the first time. Let me re-anchor it again. You're like...
No, I think there is this, so I don't want to make it sound all like it's all rainbows and sunshine and sometimes gonna pop out of your butt, because that's not the truth. It's not. There is this it's this flow and this play with wherever your energy is at the time.
It's acceptance.
It's acceptance. But it is keeping it simple in the sense of it always comes back to just come back to self. Tune into self. It comes back to my belief is always comes back to love. Whatever that love is being sent out to or coming into self first with love. These are our basic principles, and it always will come back to this. And so yes, you can kind of go out and searching for all of these things and these remembering, and at the end of the day, it's super simple. Super simple. If you just for the rest of your life tuned into soul and came from a place of love, because that's where our basic soul is, came from a place of love, you are doing freaking amazing spiritual growth within self and sending out a beautiful vibration for others to grow too. That's all you would have to do, is truly get aligned with self. Truly be speaking, acting in love and from your core. And it really is that simple. I actually went on a date a couple of months back, and the guy was trying to impress me with all these spiritual things he knew, and was like, I'm so glad I met somebody else who understands this. And he was like, wow, you keep it, you're explaining that so simply. It's almost like you're explaining it to a child. And if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, then you don't truly understand it.
You should be able to hold the attention of your dog and be able to explain it like that.
The dog, my cat's super like, whatever.
She's named Athena.
The goddess of wisdom, she knows it all already.
That's right. Phoebe just looked at us like, what are you two talking about? You're not going to hold my attention. I'm sleeping.
Yes.
No, I mean, well, that's actually a sales process, that if your sale is, if you can't hold the attention of your dog for the time frame, then you're doing it wrong. And it's the same thing with the explanation of different spiritual practices or just learning different techniques. It's about, you and I do a lot of the same practices with our clients in office, and we keep it extremely simple. I have people coming to me, oh, I want to learn this, and oh, I want to really learn that, and I'm like, let's do this. I'm like, but that's too simple. Well, that's the foundation to everything else. That is all, it's like, are you going to be able to do anything in this world if you stop breathing?
Yeah. And it's not about crazy breath work.
No. There's 1,000,001 breaths that you could learn how to do. But you're going to come back to probably 3 different breaths for almost every single thing that you want to do.
Yes. And even like yoga and stuff, it's not about like, can I like fold myself into a pretzel? It's about like, can I be present in my body? Can I be present in your body?
Can you lean into yourself to your maximum? And can you just go right past that maximum? Just a hair past the point of comfort. Because I've always used the term, the racing term of the raggedy edge, because out there on the raggedy edge of the racetrack, everything kind of starts, it gets crazy. It can be the most dangerous spot, but you can also pass by everybody else. It also seems it can be the most beautiful, and it's that right there, that rattling that you need, but you're not flying off the track. You're not, it's like you're still on the track, you're still on that path, but you're just out of that comfort zone, because that's where that growth is. That's where all the learning is. That's where that opening up is. That's where you create the miracles, is right there in that raggedy edge of your life, of your experiences. And so many of us want to kind of pull it back. We want to, it's like, I'm going to shrink this down over here. I want to be comfortable so I can control my steering wheel, and so that I can really make sure that everything's going exactly the way I want it to. You find me a person that has a life that went exactly the way they wanted it to, and I don't know what I would do. I would that's because I don't think that it exists.
I don't think it exists.
I don't think it exists.
I don't believe it's.
I don't think it's possible.
I don't believe it's possible, because our learnings come from those places where we get off of what we view as our right path, but really is truly Spirit's path for us. But we get off of that and we end up being kind of redirected. I know I wouldn't be where I am doing the work I'm doing if I would be a ballerina on the stage if I would follow the path I thought when I was little. Like, that's what I would have been, or I would be an eating disorder therapist right now doing that work. So.
Yeah. I'm like, I have some of the things that
if you ask my 5-year-old self, I would have been a topless bar dancer. I don't know where I got that thought process in my little Catholic home.
I'm the bad one of the two of us.
I remember telling my parents at dinner one night I wanted to dance on the bar topless for a living, and my Catholic parents almost fainted at the table. I remember my brother going, "Oh."
I just wanted to be a fashion designer and an author.
You were all
and an artist.
I wanted to be a nun too.
You wanted to be a nun?
For many years.
So a topless
bar dancing
nun.
I'm sure I could have made that happen somewhere along the way if I really wanted to. Intimacies of Addison.
Oh, wow. Okay, well.
But ending this conversation.
I would have designed the clothes for her to take off to be the topless. Or your
I'm a no. I'm a no now.
No?
I'm a no. But
it could be fun.
Back to our topic. I think really my message and what I really want to end with today is
be like ease and grace on steroids. Like I could totally play with that. I'm gonna write an article about Addison's childhood dreams.
It is playful. It is spiritual.
That's a very playful nun you got going on there.
Yes.
Very, very playful nun. I went to parochial school, and I actually had a couple nuns as teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know that none of them appeared to be that playful.
I had a great aunt, and I think if she was raised in a different generation, she may have been that playful.
Well,
anyway.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
But I think really what I want to kind of leave people with is, number one, like, you don't have to make it that hard. Like, really just lean into self. And you have it all within you already. Your spiritual growth. Stop making it so hard. Keep it simple. And I think also my message is, if you are doing this work, if you consider yourself a coach, a practitioner, a energy worker, whatever you want to label, a healer, whatever you want to label yourself, check your ego too. Check your ego. Like, where are you making it harder so people don't either understand you on purpose or can't really access you?
But we're supposed to be experts. We're supposed to have it all figured out. And our lives are supposed to be perfect. And we never have any drama or trauma or issues rise up. It is
we could
the
probably
land
battle
of
on this one.
Once you become one of these things, like once you become enlightened in one fashion or form, all your worldly trouble just ceases. It's just all over. It's just all over. It's all.
You don't want money. You don't want.
No, you don't need it. You don't need it. All of a sudden, you're like the Himalayan monks that can just reach down into the sands and pull up a handful of almonds,
which is easy for them.
Yes, they do it without any issue. I don't know if they can really do that or not, but it's a really cool story.
They can do some pretty amazing
They really
things.
do have some really cool stuff. Yeah,
they do.
But it is all with simplicity. Some of the most complex things they do with the greatest of simplicity. And it's just the repetition of practicing the simplest of things. And I think that's what I would leave on, is that there are probably, I want to say that there's probably 6 to 10 things on the spiritual growth path that I would say that I have learned since I have been on a spiritual growth path. So for the last 42 and a half years. It's true. So since did the dog fart? Like,
I think so.
Stinks in here all of a sudden. I'm sorry. It's like, oh, contamination. Hold on.
Since you were birthed into the world.
Since I was birthed into the world this
and began your spiritual growth.
And that there's probably like 6 to 10 things that I would say are consistently the foundation work, the core tools, core skills that I've learned over the course of that time. And I mean, like, before we go on here, we were talking about how we both have kind of, with the start of 2019, that we've both kind of come back to fundamentals and just like basic stuff. And it's those things that I think that each and every single person, if we really get right down to it, it's those 6 to 10 things that we all need to kind of pull from. I'm not going to go through those 6 to 10 things right now.
You can connect with us personally for individual coaching if you want to know those things, or check one of our workshops.
Watch our videos, read our material, look at our websites, whatever. Or we can do another talk on one or two things. It's not hard to figure out. They really are the fundamentals. I mean, we've already kind of gone through a couple of them right in here. You know, like, here's the mystery. Here's the complexity. Somebody wants complexity. You want something difficult? Go back through all of our jumbled up, playful share here and find I'm going to guess that we gave away 4 of these tools, 4 of them, and see if you can find what those 4 are and help us get more views that way, because you're watching it over and over and over again. No, it's kind of, it's like one of those
Kill two birds with one stone.
It's like the movies where you have to pick which direction you
Yeah.
want to go, and you have to
Or
go
those
back,
books,
and if
those
you
books.
don't get it right, you have to go back and you have to watch for the details. Or remember that movie Sixth Sense with where you could watch that movie like 3-4 times and always see consistently different things happening in it. I'm like, oh, I didn't see that the first time. That's what this free spirit talk is. That's it. And we did not do it on purpose.
So,
but there really are a whole bunch of tools and skills that we gave away. There's just, you got to go digging for them because it's supposed to be hard.
all right. So I know we both have some really cool stuff going on. I want to announce first our conjoint thing that.
Oh heck no! Just take over mine. Huh? Mine belongs that my stuff on. It's not our joint stuff.
We all know that. No.
I have a queen cup.
I have a queen cup too.
Mine's bigger. We all know that size matters.
I actually think mine's bigger. Now we're gonna have a cup competition. I am short. Some good things come in small packages. Compact.
You know, I don't think Pandora's box is that big.
Anyway, back to our conjoined things. This is what I do. I'm just like, this is how you stay friends. You're just like, anyway. No, we are doing, if you're in the DFW area, we actually are doing this truly, truly amazing workshop called Seeing the Other Side. It's going to be an experiential workshop where you're going to get in there and truly experience and get to see your stuff from a different perspective. These are tools and techniques and experiential things that we don't do with our clients currently. It is just going to be in this workshop. It truly is going to be incredibly impactful and expansive. So that is happening in the DFW area on April 6th in Allen.
It is co-ed.
Yes.
It is going to, did you do the whole title?
I just said Seeing the Other Side, experiential journey into your sex.
Yeah, because you see it's got the sexy title because we used the word sex in it. So that means it's got to be sexy. And I'm going to just put on here that it's, even though it is got the word sex in it, that it's not necessarily about, it's not going to be about sexual skills or bigger, badder, orgasms or how to please your partner or anything like that.
So that might be the out.
That probably will be a lot of the outcome from that you're going to have that piece there. But it really is going to be more about really tapping into that other side of self, of core, and really seeing how your sex weaves into all aspects of your life. Yes. And that's more of that tantric approach to it, of like that weaving in there, but to really be able to tap in and to work through, heal, release, open up different aspects of self in a very, and I'm going to put on here that is PG-13.
Yes.
So if you're familiar with the way I run workshops, I do rate according to movie ratings. So if it says PG-13, it's rated for language. Okay, it's rated for language because we're not going to be all free spirit talks at the workshop. We're actually going to be more
verbally
raw. Yeah. So if you can handle some language, it's a great workshop for you.
Yeah. And then today I start cultivating the vibe. So if you want a better inner vibe, which it all starts at the inner vibe, a better tribe vibe, and you want to create that like beautiful all-inclusive vibe that is your life and not waiting for vacation, then join me. You can join me over at my website, addisonbell.net. And so you can still jump in. We have not started yet. And so, yeah.
Cool. Very cool. The vibe around here right now is that my dog's...
I know. I'm like trying to ignore it, but she really is just like...
She's old and she doesn't have control.
I know, but
she's just like...
I love Phoebe.
She's fumigating the room, and the puppy, I didn't take out of her kennel, and she's up there barking, and I was like, okay, as soon as we get off here, I need to go throw the dogs outside now that the yard guys are gone. So, Okay, so you got cultivating the vibe that you're doing today, which is going to be amazing. And
I'm super excited.
And she's been doing all this work, so work.
It's
been
fun.
She's been finding her flow. I have on March 23rd a local workshop. So mine's not online, although it will be going online in April for anybody who sees this. I will be recording it and putting a whole bunch of all the content from the workshop online as well for all the ladies out there. And this is a workshop for women to learn how to really pull in, to manifest, create that conscious lover into your life. So it is called Manifest Your Man, 10 hacks to manifesting a conscious lover into your life. And that's just a whole bunch of skills that I've learned through the time, because I'm kind of the girl who's known for who always has a guy going, and
you're like boom boom.
There's lots of fish in the sea. And
I
like the fish because guess what? Fish are enlightened beings, and they have done their inner work.
And on that note,
it's such a weird.
Thank you for joining us today on Free Spirit Talks. If you want to connect with me, it is addisonbell.net.
Oh yeah, and me. I'm Kendall Williams. It's kendallwilliams.com. Why are you doing net? Yours is net. I never realized.
So there's somebody stole my com. Somebody stole .com, and so I had to use .net. I don't really love .net, but
because when I go on my computer, it's just already it comes up.
Yeah.
So I don't even look at it, and then every time you say
it's
net,
this
I go,
artist,
net?
and I'm like,
net?
You're not allowed to have the same name as me. Like, how dare you?
Well, mine's .com, kendallwilliams.com. Very, very simple. Very, 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 very simple. Both of us are simple. Just a name. So yeah. If we've said anything in our playful share today about the simplicity of spiritual growth, please hit the share button.
Yes.
Thank you everybody for watching us and for participating and all that good stuff. So go apply the KISS factor to your spiritual growth. Love you guys.
Bye.